morning everyone, Alison here from AJ Living. I just wanted to share with you my thoughts on my journey so far on keto. It is pretty cold. I always seem to manage to walk when it's just about to rain, but hopefully the rain will pass me by and I won't get drenched. I can't express to you enough at how amazed I am at the transformation that my body is going through. Like, it is incredible. I did this 5 years ago without actually realizing it, but my motivation was so completely different that I actually didn't notice me losing weight until one day I went into work. I used to work in a cafe, and one of my customers said, "Alison, if you keep losing weight, we're not going to be able to see you." I didn't realize back then that I was actually losing so much weight. But now that my motivation is again still for health, but also for weight loss as well, I'm taking notice more of what's happening to my body. And again, I cannot express to you like how amazing that is actually. So for example, my clothes feel different, I feel different. I went through the whole keto flu portion of it, and it's not really a flu, just that you feel tired and a little bit I felt tired and a little bit brain foggy. But once you get past that, it's absolutely amazing. However, last week I did have a bit of a stress moment in my life, and I have done research, and stress can kick you out of ketosis. So I feel like I'm actually having to go through the whole process again. But my clothes and my body feels different, and everything just feels so much different. I put on my exercise clothes, my walking clothes this morning, and it just felt so much more roomy. I had so much more room in my clothes. And the best part about this whole process is that I don't have scales. So last year I did a whole vlog on how I really don't like scales, because the numbers fluctuate always, and the scales don't always tell an accurate number. So we threw the scales out, and I have to say it has been the best move, because now I am just judging everything on how my clothes feel, how I feel, and my measurements. However, I haven't done measurements yet, so that's probably something that I actually need to do, just so I can show you guys. I do have measurements of last year when I first started again my journey. And I haven't actually taken any measurements since then. So it is going to be very interesting to see. Start that again. I haven't actually taken any measurements, so that's something that I actually need to do. Last year, June, when I first started at the fitness club, they took my measurements, and then about 6 months later, they took my measurements again, and I haven't taken my measurements since then. So it'd be really good to actually see the comparison in what I'm doing now with what I did back then. And I'm amazed at how quickly my body is adapting and changing to this eating plan. The one thing I have noticed in doing all my research is that there seems to be some kind of battle between keto, paleo, well, not really paleo, but I have done, when I check YouTube, I find that there is this battle between keto and the traditional way of eating that many people have followed in the past. And I have to admit that because I've been on both sides, I have done both. But you got to do what works for you. And what works for me is eating less carbs, no sugar, no refined sugar, and more fat foods, more healthier foods, more wholesome foods. Not saying that the other way of eating doesn't do wholesome or healthy, they do, but they eat more carbs. And that just doesn't work for me. And from what I can gather, it doesn't work for a lot of people. But there doesn't need to be this battle of who's right and who's wrong. You just got to do what works for you. And that's all that matters. So I'm walking around the lake, and as you can tell, it's actually not a very pleasant day. It is actually autumn here in Australia now. So we are heading into our winter, but the lake is still pretty. I've rediscovered food again. I've rediscovered wholesome food again. It feels like it's been such a long time, when in reality it's only been 2 years, but being back on this way of eating, I feel like a whole new world has opened up for me. Whereas before, with calorie restriction, I felt so guilty if I wanted to have a donut, because that means that is the only thing that I could have for the rest of that day. But doing this kind of eating plan, so many things have opened up. I can make muffins, I have made ice cream, I can make pancakes, and it's all very low carb. To me, I actually am really, really impressed. Whereas before, 5 years ago, I didn't really find out any of that stuff. I was mainly veggies, and that was it. But what I've noticed is, because I didn't have a lot of protein in my diet, I actually was losing a bit of my hair as well. My hair became very thin. So now I'm changing all that up and putting a bit more protein, even if it is pea protein powder. I love ducks. They're so adorable. And even though it is actually a cloudy day, there is not a breeze. It is so still. It's actually really quite magical here. I'm still getting used to the intermittent fasting. However, the last 2 days I have managed to push my lunch to 1 o'clock. So I have been doing it at 11 o'clock, and I slowly graduated to 11 o'clock. But this time around, I thought I'd actually see how I would last by pushing it to 11 o'clock. Thursday was fine. Friday, something strange happened. I wasn't even hungry, but my mouth has just started to water. It was insane. And then by the time I managed to have my lunch, which is a smoothie anyway, it was just so incredible. The only thing I miss about where we live now is that I can't actually get Jason his morning coffee, because there's actually no coffee shop or cafe where they do takeaway now that is close to where we live. I have told Jason that I have never ever seen black swans before, and now there are 2 here in the lake. That's really, really cool. Time to go home. How I see the difference in burning fuel with carb eating and keto is that, for me, I see keto as a candle that burns continuously for long hours, whereas carb eating to me is like burning paper. It burns quickly, and therefore it needs to be refueled again quickly, just as quickly as it burns. So that's my interpretation of how I see how different eating styles burn fuel. What I discovered is that when you give your body carbs, your body will first go for the glucose, the glycogen, before it even starts tapping into fat burning. Whereas keto, you work your body to be fat adapted, to be in ketosis. so that your body is actually burning fat for longer as well. Okay, the lighting is not the greatest, but I am home and I'm going to go do the measurements.